it sucks to suck. So don't do that.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to Covering Strong Backs Podcast 005. I'm going to be honest, a little bit shocked we made it this far. We almost didn't make it to this one, but we'll probably get into that here in a minute. With me today, like every other podcast so far, Mr. Chris Morgan. How you doing today, sir?
Doing well. Thanks for having me again.
Again. And first time podcast guest, probably not last. Who knows? Maybe we'll piss him off and he won't come back, but doubtful. Mr. Joseph VonDohlen. How are you, sir?
Doing very well. Yeah, I'll come on the podcast anytime, man.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a rocky
Yeah.
road getting to this one. Just trying to get all three of our schedules lined up. I know that we'll get into our unofficial sponsors, which kind of leads into at least my story on why we didn't make it. I'll go first. I'm drinking water today, but to keep it in the right vein, Holy City Brewing, Charleston, South Carolina.
Heck
Nice.
Yeah. Love it.
Great brewery.
Chuck
Chris,
down.
what are you drinking today on this happy hour?
Well, it's not happy hour. It's 9:19 in the morning, not soft hands time. And we're sweaty, so I'm having my smoothie. And I didn't even have time to put it in a vessel, so brought to you by my gross
That's right,
smoothie.
folks. We were not able to have our normal happy hour recording time because my friend Chris Morgan had glamour shots yesterday, which is pretty epic. I got to see the shot. He's a good-looking guy, but I don't know if that's important enough to mess this podcast up. But he found a way, so we are
right,
recording this one early in the morning.
Let's be honest. It was not scheduled well. You were casually mentioned, hey, could you do like that afternoon on Friday? I have a full fucking calendar all the time. And then somebody's had kind of a shitty week. Someone. I don't know. In my screen, you're in the middle. Someone's had kind of a shitty week. So let's be honest.
I've had a
that's
crappy
why it was
week.
delayed.
I had a crappy week, but I was ready to podcast yesterday. And only up until about 15 minutes ago was I ready to podcast today. I've been fighting stomach virus. If anyone's trying to read through the lines there, I'm fine. We'll make it through this.
Maybe.
VD, you got anything to drink? You just I know you look sweaty over there. Why are you so sweaty?
I just finished training.
Oh.
So like your counterpart over here, some of us train Saturday mornings. So for me, after my refuel, got a little Powerade Zero.
Powerade Zero, nice.
Yeah.
It's very quiet in there. You don't have like a fan going or the AC or anything like that to keep you cool.
The moderator told me that it was too loud. My sound quality was poor.
The moderator.
So I needed to turn all of my conditioning off so that I could just turn this place into a sweatbox all over again.
Incredible.
Dude,
well,
he makes me do that
I'll
too.
get rid of that guy.
And
I'll get rid of that guy.
he makes me do that too.
Yeah.
And I'm nervous about it. I'm nervous about it in the winter because, like, it's my furnace. So we'll see what happens.
Is it loud? Is
I
it
mean,
like
it's off right now.
What's that? Home
You just wear a
Alone.
hat and glove.
Home Alone, is it that kind of furnace where you walk downstairs and it's like terrifying the kid?
No, it's not a robot boiler.
If it is,
Hey.
I want to see it.
I have a comment about this smoothie, just because I never
Okay, hit us with
think
it.
about it. You know that Equipped protein or whatever, the beef broth based stuff? That's what I always use. And everybody's always talking about how it doesn't have leucine in it, not enough. So I bought this leucine powder like maybe 2 months ago or something. I don't think there's anything that smells worse than that. It is like the worst dog breath you can imagine, plus body odor. Like, it is hot death. So, like, every time I open it, it's like the first thing I put in there, and I hold my breath, I pour it in, and I turn the blender on to get it all in there so you don't have to smell it. That stuff stinks. I don't know what they make it from, but it's got to be like, I don't know. It's nasty.
Cat buttholes.
Are there natural places to find leucine, or is it, or do they? I guess you got to get it from beef, don't you? Yeah, you get it from meat, right? So, yeah, there's probably no telling what they have to do to extract it.
Well, anytime you see something that ends in "ine," like INE, that's an amino acid. So you're going to get that from some kind of protein.
Well, like creatine, isn't it all
that's why we brought you on.
completely made in the lab?
Also an amino acid. You can get it from beef.
I guess you do get it from beef. You just can't get it in the quantities I guess you need for a powder or something like that.
Yeah. Sorry, vegans.
This is probably the smartest person we've had on the
Cool.
podcast.
Well, huh?
Probably the smartest person we've had on the
Said
podcast.
something. Doesn't matter. Oh yeah, VD's probably going to trump us in knowledge easily. So it'll happen.
Let's see. It's been a while.
It'll happen. T-shirts today. Chris Morgan's got a beautiful T-shirt on, but it's a Garage Gym Athlete T-shirt. Was designed by someone close by, but doesn't matter. I'm wearing my Lift Heavy Things shirt, which you can find on the Element Athletic Wear website. And it's all right, VD. We didn't prep you.
I am not sponsored.
I definitely,
so I wear whatever I want.
definitely should have gave you a better heads up. It's fine. Under Armour's cool. I had Under Armour for a long time before I started making my own shirts.
This is literally one of the only tank tops I have. I was in there because it's hot, and I had to put a shirt on. So I go in there to look at my stack of tank tops. Every single one of them are Under Armour. I don't even own a different tank top.
I have to get you. We sell them. I'll get you one out there.
Yeah, you got to get an Element
if
one.
If this podcast gets 5,000 likes, I will buy a tank top.
All right, well.
5,000.
So what do the kids say? Like that smash button? Like that smash button. If we get 5,000 likes, I will buy an Element tank top.
It's a challenge out to all of you. We want to see VD in a tank top. I like seeing VD in a tank top. I think you would too. So let's get that rolling. Training for the week. How'd you do, VD? I bet you hit every day like you always do.
I do. I don't care if I'm sick, stomach bug, whatever. I train. And training doesn't mean go hard every day for me. So even on recovery days, I don't do quote-unquote rest days. I do recovery days. So even on days that are recovery days, I'm either doing like a low, slow run, or I'll jump on the Airdyne. I kind of make it up as I go, depending on how I'm feeling. If I'm really beat down, I go a little lighter and just stretch it out a little longer. If I'm feeling good, maybe I push the pace a little bit. But yes, I train every day, regardless of how I feel.
Pretty awesome. Which track
That's the way to
are
do
you
it.
following your own sort of training?
I do, right? So maybe you know, maybe you don't if you're watching this at home, but I program the shred track for Garage Gym Athletes. So everything that those guys are doing right now, I've already done 2 months ago because I work about 2 months ahead.
That's why it looks so shredded.
Well, maybe. But I work 8 to 10 weeks ahead and just take note of what I did, what worked, what sucked, probably too much, or what took more than an hour. And then I chop it down and make it fit the methodology for Garage Gym Athlete. And so those guys are doing everything that I did or I've done 2 months ago, basically.
It's pretty awesome.
That's really cool. I didn't know that.
Awesome.
So, like, they're basically just miniature, less cool VDs. Everybody that's doing shred. That's awesome.
Yeah. Try to keep it that way. Never going to
That's a
do
cool way to do
exactly
it.
what I'm doing right now because then you'll be better than me, and I don't like
No.
So in
Definitely
November,
gotta keep that one
they'll
up
be
somehow.
doing this in November.
What I did today, probably, yeah.
How much stuff would you say that you, and I'm sure it changes, but like you'll program something for yourself and you think, well, that really just didn't work out versus, wow, that was awesome. Like, is it 50-50 or you think you kind of got it down to like...
No, probably, I mean, I've been doing this for over a decade now, probably closer to 15 years. And I kind of know what works and what doesn't work for me. I know what works and what doesn't work within an hour. I've been programming for Garage Gym Athlete for 3 years now. So I got pretty good at knowing what's going to work and what doesn't. The challenge I run into the most is I have some equipment that the athletes at home might not have. I have an Airdyne over there that I just got, and I love it. It's great. We've got a rower. The only thing I don't have that I probably really want is a GHD, and I just don't have the space for that. So if I had that, you would see a lot more of that in the programming, but right now I don't. So it is what it is.
Prefer that?
I mean, that's a good question. I get asked that a lot.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you prefer that over the reverse hyper, or?
So the reverse hyper, to me, in my opinion, is a specialty piece of equipment. So if I want to work my low back, hamstrings, and my so-called P chain, posterior chain, then yes, I would invest in a reverse hyper. But a reverse hyper is good for two things: reverse hypering and as a table. And I don't do a lot of reverse hyper. So it's a big piece of equipment that I don't have the space for, and I definitely don't want to pay that money for it. I think it costs as much as an Airdyne, and I get more than an Airdyne.
Yeah, that West Side Barbell one is not too bad.
Right. Well, there's that one that I literally don't put a lot of weight on there. You know, I would see, you see people putting hundreds of pounds. I've got my 35s hanging off of it because that's really the only place that 35s belong. And it holds that. It's just a 2x4 thing with a pad on top of it. Really, a lot of times I just go do them unweighted just to get that stretch. I think that helps me out a lot. Without having to go in and specifically do prehab or rehab work with it. It's really just more of a just a stretching tool to kind of. But
yeah, I'm not down for that. The stuff I do already works the P chain enough. I do a lot of hinging movements, a lot of deadlift, a lot of glute stuff. Especially if you're on a shred track, you know exactly what I'm talking about. All that stuff is already programmed in. I think we're hitting hinge probably twice a week, sometimes maybe once a week other times. But we do a lot of hinging work. We do a lot of glute, low back, P chain stuff already. So I don't really need a reverse hyper for that.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean,
how about you, Chris? Did you have a good week?
It was an interesting week on Hard to Kill. We didn't have any running at all. So all the conditioning was just some Metcon stuff, but then a lot of strength work. We had heavy squat and deadlift on Monday. Pretty brutal session on Tuesday, but yeah, it's kind of different because last week we had a lot of conditioning. This week was almost all strength, so it was kind of fun. I enjoyed it actually.
I was talking with Jared,
down a little bit,
and I was talking with Jared, and he said that all the Hard to Kill athletes are going to get to the end of the week, and they're going to be like, "Oh, damn, I just squatted every day."
Yeah.
And it was in one way or another, but basically there was a squat in one way or another every day.
Yeah, we finished.
He's deceptive.
I think
sometimes.
It was Wednesday. We had sets of 25 on front squat, which really sucks. Just because it's just a long time in the front rack. It was light, but it's not that bad on your legs really, but just holding the damn barbell like that is very taxing.
Yeah. Was it any of it tempo, or was it all just mixed bag of different things?
Friday we had tempo squats, but short sets, 4 seconds down, so it was all right. Pretty heavy.
Yeah, four up to 5's not bad. You get up to those tempo, because sometimes he'll do a tempo of 9 reps. Oh, it doesn't matter how low you drop that weight, it still just destroys you. I can't stand them. I really can't stand them.
Well, that's the thing, man. So you'll see a lot of tempo stuff on shred as well, and the reason that is when I used to travel a lot, you don't have a lot of weight. Even if your hotel has a gym, it's usually up to 30 pound, dumbbells or something like that. So the way that you make that work for you is you slow it down. So do everything with a tempo. So if you want to work chest, do it with a tempo. You want to squat, do it with a tempo. Every movement just do with a tempo, and then you can use a lot lighter weight and get a really good workout, and you'll be sore the next day doing tempos.
Yeah, you increase the time under tension, right?
Yeah, I think that's the way he's making it work with that sandbag. Like, because generally a sandbag's not going to go to what you can get a squat bar to a barbell up to. So
right.
he's adding in a lot of tempo for that. Cool. Well, my week of training was I did basically no training. I think I did an hour's on two towards the beginning, but starting about Tuesday, I have just had massive digestive issues, and we'll just leave it at that right there. And I'm talking about like sidelined, just fatigued. Normally I do if I got a sniffle or just something I don't mind. I'll train through that. I've been on the couch since Tuesday of last week, basically, and or Tuesday of this past week, and it has been just absolutely terrible. And I don't. My kid got it at daycare or something, and he was throwing up. I haven't done any of that, but it just been wreaking havoc. So we don't have to go too in the weeds on my week.
Hey,
and it will feel good to get out and move, though. What?
Is this the last cycle of BCT? Is this it?
Next week is the last working week. So yeah, it's been kind of a crappy way to go out.
Literally.
But yeah, it's coming up. Yeah, quite literally. Unfortunately. But yeah, it's coming up, and I could not be happier. Like I've said, I think I've said before, I've decided I'm going to go indoor at least through November. I kind of want to do that bike race next year if they have it out there in Texas. The 100-mile Hotter Than Hell bike race with Jared. He does it a lot. I don't know if he's doing it this year, but he does do it a lot. And so I'm planning on training towards that and using indoor to do that. We'll
come out there, do it with
see.
you, but I'm not doing indoor.
Well, yeah, but I need indoor. I need indoor.
Just run more.
I need to endure some things. Yeah, I mean, I guess I could do that. But I'd like to do it for our Spartan race that we got. Just try and make it more enjoyable for y'all. Y'all are going to be going really slow if we all stay together. So, but I'm working on it. It'll be fun.
I'm excited for that trip.
What's that?
Looking forward to it. I'm excited for it. It's gonna be fun.
It'll be a good trip. It will be a good trip. It was fun last time, even though we didn't even get to do the Spartan race. So,
well, yeah, but we still have the same golf
PD was going to come to that one,
right?
Yeah, it's definitely at a golf course. No, it's at an equestrian center. Yeah, it's a stupid joke that nobody's going to get except like 3 people. It's at an equestrian center. Somebody in our group thought it was a golf course. It's fine. It kind of looks like a golf course, but then every golf course we saw, I said, "Oh, this is where the race was. We're 30 miles from there." It's fine. Cool. Well, let's take a real quick break, and then we're going to coming back, and we're going to just absolutely grill Justin VonDohlen on his entire life.
Beautiful.
Hey guys, real quick, Trampus here from Element Athletic Wear. Just wanted to let y'all know, while you may think we're only a t-shirt company, we're actually a lot more than that. We got tank tops, hoodies, hats, mugs, all kinds of accessories, and we're expanding all the time. So make sure to check us out at our store, elementathleticwear.com, and keep listening to the podcast. Thanks. And we are back. Joseph VonDohlen.
Yes, sir.
How's your life been? If you
My
were
life?
a tree, what kind of tree would you be?
shit. Fucking like a willow tree. I don't know.
Weeping willow.
Well, very short but wide.
Yeah.
Short but
Yeah.
wide weeping willow.
Yeah.
Nah, want to just get to know
Very
you a little
odd.
better.
What's that?
Wanted to get to know you a little better. I had a good question, but now looking at it, your scruff is really going to screw it up. I thought you had a mustache. I was going
do.
to say, what does your wife really think of that mustache? But apparently she didn't like it.
Well, it is blonde for a reason. She keeps bleaching it, so I think
Really?
she's fine with it. Yeah.
Nice.
It's all gray down here, though, so I don't know if that's working, but...
I had a
Yeah.
mustache for one of those no shave November things, and
Yeah.
my wife absolutely, she doesn't like my beard, but I mean, I definitely wasn't getting away with a mustache for any amount of time. And just my mustache is just this really good creeper stash. Like it's not thin or anything, but it's just sort of the way it grows, and it's I don't know, it doesn't look as good as Chris's.
It comes in all white trashy like that.
If you really want to mess with it,
Yeah.
if you really want to mess with her, just do the monkey tail where it just comes down and across, and it cuts off right there.
I've legit thought about that. I also think the like the videos where these dads with full beards just come in and show their kids and they don't have beards anymore and the kids have not known anything. I think those are fantastic as well because the kids are usually terrified.
I didn't know that was hiding under that. My wife,
Cool.
she doesn't mind the beard that much, but she doesn't like it's scratchy, you know. So I just tell her to be tougher.
I've always had the mustache, so she doesn't know anything different.
Yeah,
It is
I
a
mean,
beautiful mustache.
If she got involved with you while you had a mustache, that's a keeper for sure.
Yeah, I wouldn't kick her out.
100%.
Nice, very nice,
100%.
very nice of you. Cool. Well, so we talked about Shred a little bit earlier. What could people expect coming up on Shred? Without giving away too many spoilers.
Yeah. Well, you're going to get a lot more of the same kind of conditioning. So the way that I like to program conditioning is a couple of ways. One of them is 20 minutes, just go. So I give you a set of exercises to perform. You do them for 20 minutes and get as many reps as you can. Another way to do that is to what I did today. I'll give this a little bit away. What I did today was a hinge and a cardio component. So starting off with 50-meter farmer's carry, and then you'll do 20 deadlift with those kettlebells or dumbbells, whatever you're using, and then you'll run 400 meters. And then you'll do that backwards. So then it'll be another 20 and then another 50 meters, and then you run again. And then you do that pyramid one more time. So it ends up being like 20 minutes, and it sucks so much. But it works grip strength. And then also hinge, which are getting your cardio all at the same time. So I typically will do like a body geometry kind of thing, and I'll mix that into the Metcon. So I'm working multiple aspects of your fitness at the same time.
It's incredible you can keep all that straight. Just gonna be honest, because I didn't prep you for that. You just sort of know it.
Well, again, once you do it for a while, it just becomes natural. When you start programming, you just flow, man. So you'll start thinking of something. Okay, I need to do, for example, I need to do a conditioning piece. So I know that I need to keep my heart rate either high the entire time if I'm going for I don't know, a zone 2 kind of cardio piece, or if I'm working a conditioning thing where I'm doing intervals, I know I need to keep my heart rate high for a certain period of time, and then I slow it down for a certain period of time. And depending on what I'm trying to leverage out of that, what energy system I'm trying to use, I know instinctively whether or not I need a longer time period or a shorter time period. So, it comes kind of natural after you do it a lot.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah,
I have an observation, maybe a bit of a question. So, I'm like probably one of the most
I
boring.
might have an answer.
I'm one of the most boring people ever. I've done like hard to kill since I started at Garage Gym Athlete, and every time I see a shred workout, I'm like, there's so much going on in those. Like, a lot of stuff. Like, it looks so damn busy, and I'm like, my head just spins even looking at it. Do people? I mean, how do you? I guess that's my question: is how do you figure out how to cram all that into like a 50-minute session? Because it seems crazy to me.
Yeah. Well, so I try to think of exercises and variations to hit multiple planes of movement and multiple muscle groups all at the same time. So something like a burpee is legs, chest, and cardio all at the same time. So using exercises like a simple burpee can hit your fitness in different areas by using one exercise. So cramming it in is just exercise selection. It's pretty simple if you think of it in terms of that. So what exercises can I do that are not just single movement, which is why you don't see a lot of just straight up bench pressing. If you do, it is normally supersetted with something else, like a pull-up or some kind of opposite move. If I really want to fatigue you and we're going for strength and hypertrophy, which is Shred's ultimate goal, then maybe we do a bench press and then go right into a push-up. So something loaded and then unloaded to really tax the muscle. So there's a few different strategies going on, and those change throughout the cycle. Those change throughout each wave. And so it just really depends on what I'm feeling and where I'm going at the time. And like I said earlier, it's all based on stuff I've done.
Yeah,
so if I've done
say.
something and I'm like, oh, that's too much shoulder or that's too much legs, I'm blown up. Okay, maybe I turn it down here, I tweak this over there, and I kind of play with it. So I'm writing it down as I do it, but then when I program it, a month, 2 months later, it's probably slightly changed based on whatever notes I took at the time.
Right. Yeah, I was gonna say you're basically doing this. You're doing the whole cycle, and you're doing every little part or every little part that you think that it is you're going to include in there. So you've tested this out, which is pretty incredible.
Yeah. How'd you get into this?
But again,
the Wayback Machine. How'd you get into this? If you get in the Wayback Machine, into this, particularly this type of training, because honestly, I think this is the type of programming that you do is the most sort of complicated and technical, I would say. Just because when you get into that body composition stuff, you're really thinking about every part of the body, right? So I think I'm kind of amazed by it, but how'd you get into it?
So I'll correct you on one small thing, not to be argumentative, but it's not you can't think of it as working every little body part. Conditioning and body composition, you don't get to choose where the fat burns off. Like your body's just going to take it from wherever it is. Again, there are proven methods out there that we teach at Garage Gym Athlete if you're not a coach. They teach that stuff, and it's basically just energy systems. If you want to lose body weight, you want to lose body fat and improve your composition, you need to work in certain heart rate zones for certain periods of time, and there are different ways to do that. I just exercise multiple ways to do that in my programming. So you're not doing the same types of things every day or even every week.
Yeah.
And so by changing that, I give you variation, but it seems different and it seems less boring, so you're able to stick to it a little bit longer or more than folks that are not as dedicated. But to answer your question directly, how did I get into it? I think just like every military member, you go to the base gym and you start to do what other folks are doing. You go with a buddy and you guys do whatever you read out of a magazine or whatever. Magazines are these paper things that you used to fold and they come in the mail for our younger listeners. They were very glossy.
I'm going to make a note, see if I can figure out what that is.
Almost like a hard copy Twitter, if you will, and you flip the page. We used to work out of those and just kind of follow that along, and that's how I got started. That fed the beast a little, and then you start to go a little deeper, and you start to understand why, and you look at methodology behind the programming and why it works and what it's trying to do for you, and then that expands a little more to the point where I just fell in love with it. It became a hobby, became something that I wanted to do almost professionally, I think. So I ended up getting a degree in that, and that takes you down a rabbit hole that you never even thought you would end up in. Starting from a very narrow scope, widening that aperture with a degree is just, I don't know. It was just kind of an evolution over 6 years or so, 7 years.
Nice.
Yeah.
I think probably my earlier question was really, I see a lot of movements that we don't do on other tracks that you guys program, but I think you bring up a really cool point. Like, for people that maybe get bored easily, that's really cool that you do that, because if you're constantly switching it up, it keeps it pretty interesting. Where it's like on Hard to Kill, we definitely repeat stuff a lot, but I think that's probably some of like Jared's mentality too. Like, he doesn't mind doing that. I definitely don't mind doing it. Right? It's like I like doing a lot of the same things over and over again. It's familiar and routine or whatever.
I've done like all the tracks. I've done all the tracks at one point or another. And I remember going from Shred back to Hard to Kill. Excuse me. And the mental load, looking at the week and thinking, okay, wow, so it's going to be, wow, that's very straightforward what we're doing in Hard to Kill this week versus what we were doing in Shred, just because I would have to like figure out, like you said, you've got certain pieces of equipment that other athletes don't have. Not everybody's got the same, so I would have to sit there and think, okay, I can use my sandbag for that, or I can use kettlebell for this, and you've got to plan that out. It's a commitment. How do you get a lot of questions on weights and equipment and stuff?
Yeah, I do. I just typically ignore them. Yeah. When you're a honeybee, you don't answer flies as to why honey tastes better than shit. So kind of ignore.
I saw that recently.
Yeah, and so you kind of ignore questions. But seriously, I would love to be able to prescribe a weight for every single person. It's like, oh, what weight should I use when I back squat? Well, I don't know how strong you are. I don't train with you. I don't even know you outside of a name that I see on the internet. So it is difficult for me to tell you how to do a tempo squat and what weight to use. That's going to be completely up to you, how recovered you are, how familiar you are with this type of training, what is your training age. All of that stuff is going to go into play. So for me to give you an example weight to use or a percentage, that's why you'll see in Shred specifically, you'll see a rep range. So something typical would be like 8 to 10 reps. So I need you to load where you can get that many versus a percentage. So it's a different way of thinking about training.
Hey, I think that's a really important point, because that's something I think about and talk about a lot just in small groups, where it's like the point of the training is the stimulus, right? And you nailed it, where it's like, how much weight should I use? Well, that might not even be the same for you on a given day, right? It's like, to your point, it's like, how recovered are you? Is something going on? Like, are you
we're not
hurt
robots.
Or whatever? Because it's like, you even get back to what we talked about early, like, you train every day, but you modify like what you're doing or whatever based on what you're ready for. Like, I mean, it's the same thing for me. I train every day and I stick to the programming, but I modify my intensity. Like, if I'm feeling really good, loading the weight up. If I'm not feeling great, drop the weight. Same thing with conditioning. If I'm feeling really good, I hit it really hard. Sometimes I back it down, right? So I think that's a mentality thing that everybody should be using across all tracks, is like, you got to be scaling to your level of fitness for that day and what you're ready for, personally. But
yeah. But that's not how the American mind works typically, right? So you'll see folks that just, well, tell me what to do. I'm going to do exactly that, and then get mad when it doesn't work. Well, it's because you're not me, and you don't do what I do, and there's a lot of things that go into that.
Right.
I wish I could give you a magic pill and write you a checklist and say, if you do number 1 through 10, you're going to be fit as hell. It doesn't exist.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for the amount of money you're paying for this programming, which is not a lot. It's such an entry level fee for really an amazing program, but it's not specialized. It can't be.
Right.
For them to do that, they have to charge way more. But one other topic before we get too far away. Are you familiar with the workout Murph? Have you ever done that?
Me?
It's a
This
joke.
guy?
Yeah.
I've heard of it.
Yeah, you've heard of it.
A better question for VD is, has it ever taken you longer than 30 minutes to do it?
Yeah. There was this one time it took me 38 minutes.
38 minutes.
Yeah.
It's like so fast.
That's so disgusting. Okay, Chris, what is your fastest unvested Murph time?
Probably around 38 minutes.
Yeah. Around 38 minutes.
Unvested? Yeah,
VD,
if I go really hard.
Yeah, and just if you didn't listen, just your first one, Chris has done the workout over 252 times at this point. So, and I know that because he did all that 1 year. Check out podcast 3. Yeah, I think it was 003. VD, what is your fastest vested Murph time? And we're going to compare the two.
Put me on the spot.
Well, just you can give generalizations.
Somewhere around 24:11.
Absolutely incredible.
Good God.
I have done Murph 52 times, and they were all around 45 minutes to well over an hour, which is fine. I was never trying to break records. The idea that the human body can do that much movement while holding extra weight is incredible to me. It's sort of mind blowing.
Yeah, what are your mile times when you're getting down in that 24-minute range? What are your mile times with the vest, VD?
The miles have to be below 6 minutes.
Gross. So gross.
Yeah. I mean, but that's how I train anyway.
Yeah.
So my standard mile, regardless of what time of year or what I'm doing, what phase of training I'm in, my standard mile for myself, my personal standard is below 6 minutes. So I didn't start that way, which is why I had like some 38-minute Murphs.
Sure.
But after a while, you get used to the extra weight, the extra 20 pounds, and then your mile time starts to come back down.
Yeah.
The only time I've traveled that fast is when I've jumped off of a rock or something into a lake. I'm fairly certain that's the only time that I've traveled that fast, other than in a vehicle. So
Yeah.
it's absolutely incredible. You did it. You did it when Jared did it the first time, or was it the second time?
So I started with Jared on the first one. I quit after about 15. My schedule just was crazy, and the stress of doing it, I couldn't keep up mentally. So I quit on the first one. The second time he started was probably, a year and a half, 2 years later. And I did jump in on that one. And so there's a little bit of rivalry there behind the scenes.
That was very fun to watch.
Yeah,
it was very fun to watch.
Well, I mean, it was cool because at the time I was living in Japan, so I got to do them all over the Pacific. So I had some in Guam, I had some in Alaska, a couple in mainland Japan, Korea. I got to do them all over the Pacific, and so it was pretty cool.
I think.
Yeah, I think what you said a couple minutes ago about it being mentally too taxing. It really puts it in perspective. Like, I did it with a group of people, which, it was still tough, but that's not doing it with one other guy doing it.
Right.
It really just puts it in perspective what Jared did, because he was literally the only person doing it at the time. And to me, it still just kind of, it blows my mind, because like, I struggle doing it with a group of friends, and we talk every day about it. Like, it's literally we get together every day and talk about this all day throughout the day, and it was still hard for me to do it. And
I think,
Jared doing something like that by himself.
My perspective on the way you guys did it too, like you and Jared, where you did it once a week and you went fucking hard every time, and we're like, competing, like trying to get fastest. No fucking way I would do that. I don't care who I'm doing it with, like, because doing that workout super, super hard every week, like full out, that's really, really challenging.
It wasn't full out every week. It was, some of them were 90% efforts, just get it done.
That's still hard.
A lot of it's environmental, right? So in the summertime, it sucks to do Murph. It's harder. You're usually slower. The vest just traps all the juices inside. So it gets tougher at certain points. And then with traveling, too, you'd have different areas. So some of the times I did it was very hilly. Other times it was pretty flat. Sometimes I had to do it not on a track. So everything comes into play when you're moving around. It's not the same every week. And it's not hard every week either, because I'm not always 100% ready.
Were you always able to find a pull-up bar?
When I did them, yes. Sometimes it was inside of a gym, and other times it was outside. I think I did one on a tree branch because I didn't have a pull-up bar, but that one was just to get it done, not necessarily for time.
Yeah, definitely.
Was that
you're not breaking any records with a tree branch.
I remember when you first moved to Oklahoma, didn't you use a tree branch for pull-ups and you broke it off? I remember that. That was kind of funny.
I did. I broke the tree branch off. Yes. But yeah, that's because my stuff wasn't here. It took about 30 days for my gym equipment to get here. So I was driving to the base gym and using their stuff for probably 3 weeks, and then that initial week I got here I was doing body weight, so just doing what I can, and that's where you saw the tree branch. But
that's awesome. Very cool. I mean,
yeah.
Wow, it's you got a pretty sweet setup now, though, too. You got kind of a big space out there.
So my space is kind of weird. I have a building in my backyard, and this building's probably, 50 long this way by about 20 deep. So that wall behind me is about 20 feet back. And that seems like a good size space, but just off camera that way is kind of like a workshop. And so really my gym space is like a one-car garage space, which is all you really need. But yeah, I don't have room for stupid waste of space equipment.
Yeah, well, sure. You're not just into.
And you do other cool stuff.
Yeah,
you do other cool stuff out in that thing there. You do some 3D printing, right?
I do, yeah. So that side of the space out here is all workshop. So there are literally 10 3D printers over there. They're not running right now, but I can go into full production mode if I need to. So yeah.
You're selling that stuff too, right? Like whatever you're printing for specific customers and people that want specific things.
I can, yeah. So if someone reaches out and they want something, absolutely, I can take care of you.
Cool. Where would they find you if they wanted to?
You can find me on Instagram at Killer Prince. I'm on Twitter, same name. Or you can just reach out to me and be like, hey, I want to get this thing. I'll post some stuff on Facebook Marketplace every once in a while too. So just some things that I made randomly, and I don't want to hold on to them, so I'll just post them up. So if you find some of that stuff, just buy it. Maybe someday I'll be able to afford an Element tank top.
Yeah, how many 3D printing objects do you have to sell to buy a T-shirt?
To buy
right
T-shirts?
Now, they're free shipping right now, so make sure that plays into it.
How many? I don't know. It depends on what they are. So you have to pay by the amount of time and material it takes to make whatever you want.
Interesting.
Did you say you had 10 of these printers?
So yeah,
What's the question?
Did you say you have 10,
you have 10
3D
of those printers? Yeah.
Yeah.
10, yeah. 10.
It's a fleet.
They call it a print farm.
Huh.
Very cool.
I know nothing about this stuff.
Well, Yeah, I don't either. Other than it looks fun. Like it looks like something I'd be interested in, but
You have
it's
shared
just finding
like
the time, the money. I guess
when you're putting that or when you're doing those prints, and I'm always shocked with how long that basically runs in the background, and then something will happen like 80% of the way through it, right? It's been running for like 40 hours, and you're like, God damn it! Like that's
spider webs,
sort of life, I guess. But
bird nests.
Sometimes, man. Sometimes. Yeah, and you just waste, a whole day's work. But it's part of it,
All right, cool. Well, guys, you got anything else? Chris, anything else you want to go into with VD while we got him?
No, I've ruined enough of this.
That is true. That is true. VD, you got any closing comments?
Closing comments.
Yeah, hit us with something. Hit us with something profound.
Profound. I wish I was a profound guy, but my motto, and I'll share this because it's the most profound I have, is it sucks to suck, so don't do that.
Excellent.
That's wonderful.
I appreciate you coming on, man. If you didn't figure it out, VD, and he's a super humble guy, even though he gives us a hard time continuously. He is a super humble guy, U.S. Air Force, active duty. He flies the refuel planes, right? So you're fueling up planes. I don't know what they're called, but
I tell my
sounded
wife,
good to
man.
me.
She's like, "Oh, you do that thing in the sky."
Yeah, you
with
do
those
the thing
that
where the
air gas station thing.
gas. You do it's like a mobile gas station
so
there.
In the professional setting, we call it in-flight refueling. I do that, yes.
That's what sounds
so
better.
I don't fly the airplanes. I just get a ride to work. So other people fly me to work. They're called pilots. And then once we get to work, I go to work and refuel the other airplane in the sky.
Regardless, it's awesome. Appreciate your service, and appreciate you coming on the podcast. Thanks.
No, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.